Hello and welcome to another exciting live stream podcast with Supplier T News. Today we will discuss our topic on should Ivy League schools receive federal funding. For those not familiar, Ray Hayes, who is with me today, wrote an article about the recent funding of Ivy League schools and just the enormous benefit that they're getting from that. And we decided to sit down and talk about it, give our thoughts on the subject, and, you know, highlight some of the positives, if any, and negatives of this whole Ivy League funding that they've been getting. So I won't get too in depth on this. I'm going to let Ray Hayes take that part. But just wanted to introduce it. Welcome everybody, and again, always thank you guys for joining us each and every week. As always, before we get started, please like, subscribe, share the video, uh, comment on the video, and give us suggestions if you have any. So, welcome, Ray. How's everything going?
What's going on, Jamie? I'm good, man. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. I know you're getting over a little bit of a cold. In the
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, definitely excuse me if I start coughing or I step away for a second. I don't want to blow. I mean, I don't want to cough in everybody's ear. So just excuse me if I do start coughing. I'll definitely take the mic away. But everything else is good though, man.
Okay, all right, cool. So,
Springtime is here.
yeah, that is true. April. Watch out for those showers, though.
Yeah. Man, last week was nothing but showers here in Chicago, in the Chicagoland. I think it was throughout the Midwest. It rained crazy all week. But you got the sun out today. It's almost 50 degrees. Can't complain.
Okay, cool. Yep. So now it's nothing but up now in the Midwest. So that's good, which is great because I actually travel back to Detroit later today. So hopefully it'll be in the
Yeah, I know
60s
you're
and
going.
70s.
Yeah,
That wasn't a joke.
wishful thinking.
That wasn't even a joke. I was serious. Thank you for
I know
laughing at
that's
my
why it's a
goal.
joke.
Thank you for laughing at my hopes and dreams. Mm.
This ain't Arizona, man. This ain't the West Coast. It ain't gonna be like that.
Well, all right, fine. I
I'm
hope it's
sorry, Jamie.
50. Wow, you really
I'm sorry.
laughing?
Go ahead, though.
Wow, you really laughing at me? Okay, well, anyway,
That was funny. That was funny.
that wasn't a joke, but okay. Well, let's switch focus here, and
I'm sorry. All right, let's go ahead, man. I'm sorry. That was really funny. That was really funny. That was a good one. I ain't gonna lie. That was a good one.
wow.
If anybody listening and heard and you're from the Midwest and you heard what he said, he wish it was 60 or 70 in April, and I think they would laugh too. But go ahead. It may snow next week. You never know, man.
Oh, God, terrible.
But no. But I don't want to segue to the next topic though.
Yes.
Like you said, in regards to Ivy League institutions receiving almost tens of billions of dollars, like literally billions of dollars from taxpayers. So when I read the article, it was posted to Fox News. They talked about, like I said, Ivy League institutions receiving tons of money from taxpayers. On top of that, they're still getting federal money. And the federal money, I mean, it's not. They don't take into account that they're receiving all this money from taxpayers. They're still giving Ivy League institutions tons of federal money as well. Therefore, I pose the question: would it be necessary for Ivy League institutions to receive federal funding if they're receiving so much from taxpayers? Uh,
Well,
Now,
hold on.
go
Before
ahead. I'm
I'm gonna
sorry.
I'm gonna I'm gonna let you get into it, but I do want to just highlight one thing before you go ahead and you get into it
Okay.
from the Fox News article, which caught my attention. Um,
Okay.
basically, they said, like you said, tens of billions. So it's costing taxpayers 41 billion between
I'm
2010
sorry. Yeah.
and 2015. And then what they said
Right.
was these Ivy League schools. So there's 8 schools, which you can see their names on the picture on the YouTube video. But according to this, and we're just going to put it in quotes from the Fox News article, they have enormous resources at their fingertips, including endowment funds in 2015 exceeding 119 billion. Now take that total and split it up among Ivy League undergrads, and it comes out to 2 million each. That's insane. But keep going. Keep going. But that's just essentially
No,
2 million each person. So yeah, but
you
keep.
definitely right.
Yeah.
Another another thing I wanted to point out too, in that article they talked about a federal perk that the Ivy League schools receive as well. I'm going to read it. Let me read it verbatim. The schools pay no tax on investment gains on their endowment.
That's
A
crazy.
tax break is estimated at $9.6 billion over the next 6 years of the study. That's insane. And the reason I brought it up because you have institutions, for instance, HBCUs and also non-HBCUs who are struggling and asking the government for more federal tax money. I mean, also for more federal money to go about keeping the lights on at some of these institutions. You have recently with Donald Trump and his administration moving the HBCU initiatives or the HBCU institutions, they'll be directly reporting to the White House instead of the Department of Education now. And they cut the federal funding for HBCUs. It's down to $492 million. So my thing is, if you have you have this money going to Ivy League institutions, you see some of them may not need it. If they don't need the money, well, damn near all of them, but they don't need it per se. I'm not saying take that all. You shouldn't take all that money away. You shouldn't take all that federal money away. I don't think you can. I don't think you should do that. I don't think you can do that without a lot of backlash. However, you should take some of that money you're giving to the Ivy Leagues and put it in institutions that really need it. I'm not saying give it all to a Morehouse College just because I went to Morehouse. No. Give it to a University of Wisconsin. Give it to one of the small institutions. I mean, any institution that actually needs this money. But I was reading a New York Times article, and the director of financial aid at the UCLA, I believe, they stated that it doesn't seem appropriate to take it from one school and give it to another. Now, and she's not coming from an Ivy League school,
right?
So it's kind of like you have that. It's going to cause a lot of backlash if this happens, which I don't think it will.
Well, I mean,
ever.
No, obviously not.
It will never happen because it'll be so much backlash for it. But it should be.
Well, what do you mean? Backlash?
It should be. Oh, well, go ahead then.
Yeah, what do you mean?
As far as like critics complaining like, oh, you shouldn't take this money from Ivy Leagues.
So if they're taking, so right now we know that it's costing taxpayers what about $9 billion each year.
$9.6 billion.
Yep.
Right.
So if you're saying there's going to be backlash if they decide that instead of getting $9.6 billion, these Ivy League schools get $5 billion. I'm confused. I'm confused as to who's the one that's backlashing here.
The institutions, the Ivy League institutions, they're going to say, okay, why are you taking? We need this money. We need this for this. We need this for that. We're producing some of the top students in the nation.
They need what?
We deserve this money.
We just. So you think
I'm just
Ivy
saying,
League schools are going to say this? So you're saying that
yes.
Ivy League, okay, and they're going to have obviously the alumni support backing them.
Yes.
You believe? Okay.
And the alumni support, a lot of the alumni support sit on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, agreed.
So you're going to have people who are complaining like, okay, no, you cannot do this. We need this money. This is what this money is going to. This is why we need this money. They'll give you reasons as to why we need all that tax money.
Of course.
Can we agree on that?
Yeah, I agree.
So you throw that into the picture. Like I said, this will never happen. But I do think more of the press should release it, put more pressure on the White House and Senate and Congress about this problem, because it is a problem. That
Oh yeah,
taxpayers
this is ridiculous.
should know this information. They don't. I'm sure I didn't know it. A lot of
I
taxpayers,
didn't either.
we don't know this. We don't know this
Yeah,
information,
you don't know where your tax dollars are going.
and
Every
and
dollar,
we
every dime, you don't know.
exactly. All this chaos about the budget and just the chaos in general going on in the White House. We can fix one thing easily.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Read Fox News, the main source of the White House. Take a look at that article. Something has to be done.
yeah, it's
But
sorry.
it's not going to be done. It sucks to say.
Yeah, and
Unless more people get on the board and say, okay, you have more people protesting and fighting about this issue, or putting in one Senate member or Congressman put it in a bill to say, hey, we need to go about fixing how we're giving, what this tax money is going. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say we're looking at ways now. I believe right now the federal budget is around almost 20 trillion. I 100% believe that there's some wasteful spending going on in there. And if we're looking at
Yeah,
trying
definitely.
to if we're looking at trying to cut trillions of dollars off of that, huge debt that we have, it's
Uh-huh.
programs like these that will help with that. Now, I'm 100% with you in that, you don't 9.6 billion, don't cut off all 9.6 billion. I mean, there's no way we can argue that they're not doing stuff with that money. Obviously they are. Now,
Exactly.
you can also, devil's advocate, you can also make the counter argument that they could probably do a lot of that stuff without that money, like literally without getting any federal funding. You could probably make that argument, but then there's just two separate arguments you can make for and against. However, what we can both agree on is that you probably don't need as much as 9.6 billion, especially when it's coming from taxpayers. I think you can
No, not at all.
cut off a couple billion, they're still
Uh-huh.
fine, they're still successful. I'm 100% sure that their alumni will still be donating to these colleges and universities, and they'll still be able
Yeah,
to
definitely.
create jobs, which is their main argument for why they need that money, is because they take that, they use it to invest in things, and they can create jobs. Well, I'm pretty sure that you can still create jobs. Maybe you can tap other resources within your organization to do that, but I'm pretty sure you can do that because I'd be interested to know like what kind of profits these companies, these educational corporations are making, because I mean they're. I think it says here, without new donations, the endowment could provide a full ride scholarship for all Ivy League undergraduate students
Yeah,
for
now that's
51
crazy.
years. For 51
For
years.
51 years.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
crazy.
yeah, there's money there that they can utilize outside of, if their federal funding was cut, there's money there they can utilize to be just as successful. Uh, I do want
Let
to,
me ask you this.
yeah, go for it.
Go ahead. I'm going to say, why do you think nothing has been made of this?
Oh, like you said, they
Have
are.
you think it's been swept under the rug or anything?
Oh, you already said their alumni have just an enormous amount of power.
Okay.
I
Gotcha.
mean,
Okay. So you agree. Okay.
yeah, that's I think that's the cut and dry answer to why this hasn't been made a big deal, because the people who generally are the ones making big deals about this are graduates or have some type of
Are the people that...
connection. Yeah, they're the ones that benefit from it.
True.
So
Okay.
yeah, well, it's kind of like saying, nah, we're not gonna get off into that. But yeah,
What was you
that's
going to say?
nah. Don't worry about. Don't worry about. Now, what I do want to segue over to is the fact that, remember when you went to college and you had to pay that like admissions fee when you were like sitting out your,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
apparently you have to do that with
So,
Ivy League schools too.
right.
Now,
You do.
now in the student body's defense, they actually have a pledge going on right now where all the Ivy Leagues have actually wrote a letter to their, I think, the boards of the Ivy Leagues or whatnot, basically saying that
uh,
students from lower income families shouldn't have to pay the admissions fee.
yeah. I mean, and also, I mean, well, let's say this too. The Ivy League institution do give students who come from low income backgrounds. They offer you free tuition if you're able to get into the institution, but they offer you free tuition. But go ahead. I just want to throw that out there too, though.
Yep. So I think that this is I think my point at pointing that out, if you will, is just to show that I do think that there are steps being taken to
Yeah, definitely.
come up with some type of solutions to helping other people out that may want to have a connection with the Ivy League school. The big issue here is everyone outside of the Ivy Leagues, right? It's very similar to, the rich versus everybody else, the 1% versus everybody else. The 1% will always defend the resources, saying that they need it in order to create jobs and, make America a better place and, all these things. And then the other 99% are, always going to argue the opposite and say, well, you don't really need that many resources. You don't need that much money. We should all get a piece of this pie that you have, um, because it's just not fair, right? This idea of fairness, and I do think that the idea of fairness is something that Americans have always struggled with, right? Because
Okay, yeah.
yeah, like that 9.6 billion. Although I understand where the lady or guy, whoever you quoted from UCLA, was coming from, the fact is, if that 9.6, if 5 billion of that money wasn't going to that, it would be going to something else. And now the question becomes, where would that money be going to? So I do,
Yeah.
yeah, I
And then
do,
you have another problem.
so I do think that uh, this is just going into the greater argument of America, which is, as we're moving forward, how rich do rich people have to be? How much money does a Harvard need to be successful? Really? You know,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be, and that's the big question. Again, do these Ivy Leagues need 9.6 billion? Probably not. Honestly, from federal funding, nah, probably not.
Not at all. No, not at all.
Yeah, but they'll continue to get it. But then the question becomes after that is, well, how much money do they need to be successful?
Can we put an actual a dollar amount on how much money you need to be successful? Or does it depend on like your hard work,
Well,
your dedication? Like, look at you. Can they throw some money at you when you came out of college?
right.
They gave you a dollar amount, what it takes to be successful. If I gave you $100,000 coming out of college,
Hmm.
could that determine that you'll be successful in the next 5 years?
Well, no, obviously.
It depends on the person, correct?
Yeah.
So I mean, with same thing with the Ivy League institution, it's still yes, they're going to one of the most
Prestigious.
glamorous and touted out institutions in the world and prestigious institutions in the world. However, we're talking about the institution being prestigious or being often producing some of the most smartest people uh, in all industries throughout America and foreign countries. However, there are still some individuals who come out of Harvard or Yale who fail. So you can't put a dollar amount on a student and say, okay, if I give him this, he'll succeed. Or if we give him this amount of money, he'll succeed. If he goes to this institution, he'll succeed. No, that's not true. It's still deep down in that person, depending on how they will use their skills and their resources to succeed in life. So I don't think you can put a dollar amount on it.
I mean, well, it sounds like you're defending this 9.6 billion that's going to these Ivy League
Well,
schools.
definitely.
You said what?
Yeah, definitely.
You
I
want
said definitely.
so you think that they need that
No,
9.6 billion?
that's a joke. That's a joke. That's no,
Oh, okay.
no,
Okay,
no. That's a
because you're saying
horrible joke.
no, I get it. You're saying it's hard to put a dollar amount. What I'm saying is we need to figure out what that dollar amount is. And I know right now it ain't 9.6 billion.
Yeah, I don't think we have to figure out a dollar amount. I think we understand that they don't need this money. They don't need all this money.
I think we do need
Point
to
blank.
figure out a
Period.
dollar amount. I really
What is
do.
that going to do though? I mean,
Because when we don't figure out a dollar amount, now we get into the whole issue of defending this 9.6 billion a year because we don't know what that number
okay,
is for them to be successful. And I think, no, I'm not saying they need they need exactly 5.23 bill, I'm not saying something like that. I'm not
all
saying
right.
we're getting that specific. What I am saying is that we understand that. So there's a couple of ways I'm thinking about this, but we understand that, for example, $1 million of taxpayer money will get us 500 jobs or something like that, right?
Uh
Something along those lines. So do it in terms of that type of equation. Or we know for a fact that every every billion you give these Ivy League schools, like for the first billion you get 1,000 jobs. For the second billion you get 2,000 new jobs. Then for the third billion you get 500 new jobs. Then for the fourth billion you get 25 new jobs. So you see how it's going down as we give them more and
yeah, I
more
see what you're
billions.
saying.
Yeah, yeah. So if that's the case, then we can say, okay, you really only need 5 billion because once you get to 6, 7, 8, 9, I mean, you're only creating, 2, 3 new jobs.
It's
Like that's
not
yeah,
what.
it's just not. We can use that money and allocate it elsewhere where we know more jobs will be created. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
that's
I
what I'm
like that
saying. Yeah,
idea,
yeah,
man.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This 9.6 billion, like this is ridiculous. Uh, unless we look into the numbers and these dudes are creating like 1,000 new jobs each billion, then okay. Which I
Yeah,
highly, highly, highly doubt.
that's happening.
Yeah, 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 highly doubt that. But that's why I'm saying we need to break this down even further. That's why I'm like, you can't really put 5.62, like 3 or whatever. Pay not that, but we can estimate this and we can create a fine argument to say, okay, you don't need this much money. You can have this much money.
Right. But that I mean that the dollar amount will increase, but year by year, because they'll they'll say,
Sure.
okay, we produce this, so they I mean we need more,
As long
so
as it's
that still will
reasonable.
be fine.
So I
It's
thought
reasonable. Okay.
I thought you meant in terms of like inflation. I thought that's what you meant.
No, I
Uh,
mean yeah, that inflation, but also
no, I
based
get what you
off
mean. Yeah.
things you
Okay.
develop. I
Yeah.
mean, okay, we have more jobs or do
Yeah.
this and this. We need more money.
I get what you said. I get what you mean, and that can be looked at. I have no problem with that. If 1 year you went from creating 25 jobs to 1,000, I have no problem with taking a look at this and seeing, if this is necessary, and then having taxpayers vote on it because it's their
Now
money.
let me ask you this: how okay we do split this money up, and we say okay we can give it to institutions, not Ivy League institutions.
Right?
How will we determine which institutions need the funds or how much they may need?
I'm pretty sure they do that right now. They figure out what institutions
Okay.
need right now because it's just 9.6 billion for all institutions. We don't know exactly who's getting what, but so I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
they have their own ideas on how to do that. We can keep that in place. That's fine. I'm not arguing against that. But what I'm saying is, and I've already kind of broke that out in terms of how to get to the amount of money that they actually need. So
This is my after we doing all that. This is my whole problem at the end of the day with all this. Okay, we see. Okay, we can take this money and put it in other assets and do something else with the money,
right,
right?
right.
Take the money as misappropriations. That would be my only concern. Okay, we have this, we this. Okay, why don't we put this money toward the wall? Or why don't we put this money toward military defense? You see what I'm saying? Like,
No, yeah, no, I 100%. So Here is the brutal truth with the Donald Trump presidency. Donald Trump Donald Trump won well, as of April 2nd, from what we know and what the evidence has proven, Donald Trump has won the presidency in a legitimate election.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as of what we know, nothing's been proven right now. You can,
Right.
do everything you want, believe whatever you believe. No evidence has come out that has directly tied him to anything. So, because of that, because that's what we have, the president of the United States has full authority to allocate the money as he
Whatever he
sees
chooses.
fit. Yep, exactly wherever he sees is the best fit for that, and that is what the American people voted for. So if it
Right.
is allocated to the wall, that's what the American people voted for.
Yeah. And you got $1 billion for the wall, and then
Yeah,
I guess we don't have to pay for the wall.
yeah, exactly. I
That
mean,
would solve everything.
well, I mean, we did have to pay for it because it's still taxpayer dollars, and obviously
Oh yeah, you're right.
it's getting more and more obvious that Mexico is not going to pay for this wall, but this is, hey, this is. I mean, you can make the argument that he promised that that we wouldn't have to pay for it, and now we're paying for it. But I mean,
Yeah,
name a
just
president.
change the money. We put the money somewhere else.
Well, name a president that hasn't broken a campaign promise. You know.
All of them have. I
Yeah,
mean, it is what it is.
yeah,
Can't do
exactly.
anything about that.
So with
Way the
him,
game.
yeah, exactly. That's the game of politics. So, um, so I mean, it is what it is. So, but hey, that's what as of today, that's what the American people voted for. So, can't get mad when a president tells you he's going to do something and then he does it.
I think this conversation, our discussion will be a little bit better if someone from an Ivy League institution chimes in as well.
In terms of
and give their opinions on why they need that money or how that money helps them tremendously.
I only know.
We'd
have to get somebody higher up in the institution. I know people who have went to Ivy Leagues. Now, I'm not. By all means, I am not saying every Ivy League person who's going to Ivy League school has said this. Okay, I am. Let's make that very clear.
Right.
Not everyone has said this because I've never had this conversation with everyone. But for the few that I have, they've said that they don't need all that money.
Okay.
Now, what does that mean? I don't know. That's a very general statement. But the people
subjective opinion. That's it.
Yeah. But the people I've talked to are like, okay, look, like we've got a lot. It's kind of like the rich person with like 20 bedrooms. Like, yeah, you don't need all of them bedrooms. like you really don't. And
can't sleep in all of them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what do you don't need 20 rooms, really. You're not gonna use them all.
Yeah.
So and this is where we are with the.
But then
don't need everything.
So I mean, if someone is listening to the conversation, please chime in or just leave a comment. How you feel about it? I mean, these are our subjective opinions, and both of us are not Ivy Leaguers. And just to see other people's comments. I mean, hey, how do you feel about this situation?
Yeah, I think.
We can come back to the topic anytime. I mean, come back to it. But go ahead.
No. I think that's a really perfect way to honestly segue out of the podcast. I 100% agree. If you have any comments, definitely leave them. And like you said, we'll get back to it. We'll come back to the conversation of should Ivy League schools receive federal funding. So with that, so with that being said, thank you for joining us for another podcast. This one's a little shorter than our other ones, but those are our thoughts. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please let us know. Please like and subscribe, and tell your friends. So with that being said, this is Supplierity News.
Real quick too, I did want to point out to check out Jamie. Congrats! I want to definitely give him some applause and congratulations. Jamie right now is working teaming up with NMSDC for the We Are NMSDC podcast.
Oh yeah.
So definitely check it out on our news feed. Well, check it out on our Facebook news feed, or you can check it out on Twitter. We posted it on there, but you can also check it out on our website for the podcast. Provide some valuable information. He recently did a podcast with Express Script and DB Healthcare. So definitely give it a listen. If you're in the supply diversity field, just small business field, or you just want to just hear some thoughts from the people from these companies, they will be coming out frequently. So give them a listen, definitely. But I wanted to definitely congratulate you, Jamie, and they've all gone well so far, and I know you have one coming up this week.
I got two coming up this week. Yeah, funny enough, but
Two.
yeah, like you said, they've all been really good, really great experiences, really great people I've talked to. So definitely check them out.
Yeah.
They all have wonderful things to say about supplier diversity in their experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just wanted to throw that out there, man.
Yeah, no worries. But with that being said, yeah, I think we should definitely probably sit down and really talk about the We Are NMSDC campaign just by ourselves and give our thoughts on that sometime in the very near future. We'll definitely do that.
Okay.
But yeah, so again, thanks for listening, and check out the podcast, all the other podcasts that we've done, and have a great day.
Have a good Sunday, you all.